Okay, Michael, we are live now. Can you please make me the co-host?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, will you let people in or shall I let them in?
I'm letting them in.
You're going to let them in, eh? It's fine. Hello, Anthony. You're the first one in class. How are you? Anthony, can you hear me? Hi. Hello. Hello. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Michael, I just finished mine and I thought I want to learn all about potted herbs.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, you really are welcome. It's super to have you here. Okay.
But I'm probably going to turn my video off because I'm going to be eating breakfast, if that's okay with you.
Leave your video on and eat breakfast. I want to see what you're eating.
I'll turn it back on later.
Hello to Sue. Welcome, Sue. Okay. Hi. Great. And Safa, welcome. Okay. Nice to see you. And yeah. Now, A. Rosand has changed her name. Okay. So what do I call you? A or Rosand? And Lynn. Hello, Lynn. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Okay. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. I see there are still people coming in. So I'd like to know where some of you are from. Where are you in this wonderful, big, wide world? Maybe Satha, we'll start with you.
I'm in New York.
Okay. Okay. So you're in the evening. Okay. And Sue, where are you from?
I'm in Michigan, Northeast.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So we've got from there all the way to Natalie in Eastern Australia, and Astrid. Hello, Astrid. Okay, where are you from? Silence was the deadly answer. Lynn. Hello, where are you from?
Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. So most of you from North America.
Michael?
Yes.
Hello, Michael. Astrid is chatting and he's putting his answers on chat. You can check there.
Okay.
Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Ah, Carol Sue. Yes. Okay. I'm fine. Thank you. And how are you?
I'm hanging in there, and I love your bandicoots. They're so pretty.
I know. We've got two of them now in our garden.
They know, they tell each other because you have good snacks and food at your house.
That's true.
That's the reason why they come from the forest. Go to their house. It's good food.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or not a good thing. Okay, but I think we'll still supply them with good food. We also supply. We've got 2 pairs of parrots now that come from the wild into the garden. So also, anyway, I think we should make a start. Nancy, let me just introduce Nancy to you. Nancy is our TA support from Get Set Up. She's here to sort out any issues you might have of any description. You can contact her on the chat page. You can do it directly or in public, it doesn't matter. and you can just ask her to help you with, it could be video microphones, it could be other issues. Then just feel free to contact. And Nancy, welcome to class. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, Nancy, are there any issues before we start?
Not yet.
Okay, right. That sounds ominous. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're then going to get on with a start. And I'm going to ask you in a few minutes' time, have you worked with herbs? Have you planted herbs? Do you use herbs? So be aware that question is coming up in a minute, and we can see where we are, so we can address a lot of the issues of you that are attending the class. We might be able to focus in. We basically very seriously looking at the nutritional side. That's why the word nutritional is in front of of the title, and so we'll be looking at the things. Now, as is customary, a little bit about Get Set Up. For those of you that might be relatively new, although looking at, there we are, Nancy. Okay, here we are. Looking at, yeah, sorry, I was distracted with that noise. Listening to people who are new in Get Set Up, who have maybe just arrived. Get Set Up, you can see on the screen, is that it's an organization that is, I think it's just fabulous. We learn from each other. I'm a senior, well into my years, and it's where we can get together and chat and share information about subjects that we enjoy, and that perhaps we research as well. So anyway, please try and keep your cameras on if you can. It helps us as presenters, but it also helps Nancy to see, maybe who's a Zoom bomber that's uninvited that arrives as well. So it's great to have cameras on if you can, and to chat. Okay. And remember, any products that I might talk about, we don't get paid to promote anything at all. And so it's just in passing in the class that happens. Okay. So please feel free to ask questions as we move along. You can leave your microphone off if you're going to be asking questions for a while. Otherwise, just press your space bar down and ask the question, and then when you finish chatting, you can release the space bar. That's another way of getting your microphone on and off as well. Okay. Thanks, Satha. It's great to talk to somebody with a camera on you. Okay. All right. So as you can see in your slide, I live in Perth, Western Australia. So we have just gone 7 a.m. in the morning, a winter morning. It's still dark outside, yeah. So we get up early here in Australia. So yeah, I love gardening, and between my wife and I, we decorate the garden, and we feed the bandicoots and the parrots, and get amazing wildlife coming into our tiny little garden. It's lovely, and yeah, and I enjoy the training and Get Set Up and being a guide. So today, with the agenda, if you see the agenda we're going to look basically at nutrition and herbs and planting them, and a lot of else that one can't really put on the agenda in this type of class, but we'll move forward and see. So here comes the question I want you to ask now. Have you grown herbs before today? Okay. So please just say yes, put your mic on and say yes, or if you've got your video on, you can nod your head. Okay, that's also fine.
No.
Okay. Any others? Sue? Okay. Okay, all right. Some of you have, some of you haven't. All right. So I'm going to start here. I think it's a logical place to start when dealing with this subject. But before we really look at the differences, I want to talk about the amazing science discoveries that have been taking place around herbs recently. You know, there have been now new uses for these remarkable little plants that have been discovered, you know, in the last year or two. With each new piece of research, it seems as though a little more power of the herbs is being unlocked and revealed. You know, and herbs have been used all over the world for thousands of years, but not so much in the West. Okay, so there are microbes that inside herbs that provide capabilities now that have been discovered and health benefits that we would never have in working isolation on our own. It's a collective from different scientists around the world that are unlocking this information. You know, the mere discovery of the prebiotic effects on herbs, not on herbs, of herbs, I would say, yeah, on the gut microbiome, and their subsequent generation of health-promoting postbiotics. Okay, now we've had pre and biotics, now postbiotics. Has really expanded the view of the value of herbs in medicine, and the effects, their collective effects as a whole herb with all the enzymes and nutrients and things within the herbs working together as a community when they enter your. So anyway, that's a start off. So what is the difference? Excuse me. What is the difference between what you see on your screen and herbs? You know, while fruits are typically known as the part of a plant that contains the seed, okay, vegetables can be made up of any edible part of the plant, as you know, and which including roots and bulbs like carrots, potatoes, and beetroot. Okay, but herbs are a subset of vegetables. Okay, they are generally composed of strong, flavorful leaves. Okay. And these leaves of certain plants like dill, oregano, thyme, parsley, sage, and so forth are typically a subset of the vegetables, and you can grow them as a microgreen or you can grow them as a full-on herb. So, you know, to state the obvious, we use herbs typically in the past here in our particular cultures as seasoning the dishes, and so, you know, we might season meat or grains or whatever we season. Okay, but we haven't really looked seriously as a whole culture of growing and benefiting from the nutritional side. So herbs and spices are very similar. Spices are basically taken from any part of the plant. Okay. So, you know, including the roots, the seeds, the leaves, the fruit, the bark even. Okay. You know, examples of spices made from roots include things like turmeric, ginger, horseradish. Okay. Spices made from the fruit include red pepper, fennel, and coriander. And spices from seeds include like black pepper, mustard, caraway, and so on. Then spices from the leaves may be a bay leaf or a mint leaf. So spices come from any part of the plant. Herbs when we talk about herbs, herbs are fresh plant leaves. Okay, so I wanted to make that clear because we're going to be dealing, with some spices, because some of the herbs are best dried and used as a spice, but mostly we're going to talk about the fresh. So herbs are basically small plants that have a fleshy or juicy stem when they are young. Okay, microherbs are something that I referred to and showed you how to grow them if you ever attended my microgreens class. Okay, microherbs hold the majority of their flavor, their nutrients, their fragrances in the leaves and stems. Okay, and the antioxidant levels in fresh microherbs are much higher than in dry herbs. So if you're looking for nutrients, fresher is better than dried. Herb stems are typically smaller and softer in texture than vegetable stems. So you can incorporate fresh herbs into your meals more often to improve the taste of the food and to give you a healthy nutritional boost as well. Okay, so
what if the stems are woody, like rosemary?
Yeah. Then you use the leaves, okay, like the rosemary leaves. That's where you don't necessarily use all the plants unless you, unless you are drying it and then grinding it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right. So this is, as part of the research that I found so interesting, that obviously I think we know that now in this day and age with quantum physics that all human beings are made of energy. And the mitochondria are the energy factories of the body. It's just amazing when you think there are several thousand of these mitochondria in each cell. Okay. So and their job is to process oxygen and convert substances from the food you eat, and a lot from the herbs, turn it into energy. Okay, so they produce these mitochondria. They produce about 90% of the energy needed for the brain and your body to function. Okay, so it's stored in the body, called ATP. And don't ask me what ATP is. I've just always used the word ATP. So mitochondria are the power generators in nearly all our cells that exist within our body. The mitochondria diseases occur when the mitochondria fail to produce energy for the body to function correctly. Okay. So you not having the correct food can be impacted, and depending on the location of the cells, the symptoms will differ. If it's in your brain or in your kidneys. Okay. So yeah, so being unknown in the past, the East definitely knew a lot about it. They didn't have the science, but they knew the effect with their traditional Ayurveda medicines, in India particularly. They realized that diseases originated in the gut, okay, in the intestines, and so the digestive tract was for thousands of years known in that type of medicine that wasn't in we were aware in the West. So a lot has developed now around the discovery of the microbiome, and the Ayurveda has now confirmed, that, yeah, that's what we've been telling you all along. And now, your science has discovered it. And so the two come together. And So yes, so mitochondria maintenance is essential for the proper functioning of cells and tissues. And a lot of the dysfunction results in all sorts of diseases, from heart diseases, near degenerative diseases, any sort of disorders, cancer, and inherited diseases too, sitting there. So you need to be looking at, if you have heart problems, have any sort of diseases, look towards a variety of herbs. Diabetes as well, which is rife in the East, because of I guess our sugary foods and the way we eat created foods as opposed to growing foods. So it's really an important aspect, herbs and promoting herbs for yourself and eating fresh herbs, as well as dried herbs. Okay, you can't grow all your herbs fresh. You can grow a fair amount. And so let's look now at some of the herbs that are really beneficial. Now, there are just so many herbs on the planet. And so, I historically have researched a long time ago, because I was not well at all at a certain stage, that I was looking at natural remedies and eating for health. And so the one or two that I'm going to show you right now were the ones that I really came on and helped me immensely. And the first one, as you can see on your slide, is turmeric. If you are attracted to the nutritional benefits of herbs, looking into how they work is fascinating, and it's also chemically complex. Okay, much more than the word herb actually implies. So, looking at medical properties, the complexity stands in stark contrast. The complexity of a herb stands in stark contrast to a single target drug. So it's really a total factory, putting everything together for the totality of everything that you need in order to make you healthy. So you'll get the vitamins, as I said before, you get the nutrients and so forth, but you get a lot of other things that are there, that are grown, that nature knows better than perhaps a factory producing a supplement or a particular aiming at just getting rid of that one symptom. Okay, the herbs battle with and get you right across the board by starting with your microbiome and getting it healthy. So a healthy body then regulates itself and then remains in balance. And so there are all sorts of adaptogenic herbs that help in that process. And particularly, when you're looking at balance, you're looking at stress. Stress is an issue. So turmeric is certainly something that one needs to look seriously at, and it's grown easily. It's not a difficult one to grow, and I'll talk about growing in a minute. Okay, so the turmeric somehow just promotes a robust change in your microbiome and keeps it healthy. And it also produces something called butyrate. I don't want to get too technical, but butyrate also is the fuel for the microbiome, which in turn supports the immune system and regulates the nervous system as well. Okay, so let's have a look at how, just broadly, how to plant your turmeric in pots. Okay, you can grow fresh turmeric. It's really not health. It's really not difficult, sorry. So all you need is a large pot in a really sunny spot, okay? And then give it what it needs to grow, and then it will grow like a weed. It really will. It will be easy and not difficult. And you will find you get attractive tropical foliage and a generous harvest of turmeric. You know, it's like ginger. Turmeric thrives in warm, humid conditions and well-drained neutral soil. So be careful if you're going to be adding stuff. It will grow. Okay, it will grow easily just with ordinary soil. And it's best if you plant it, let's say, in the late winter, and you plant it indoors where your indoors are still warm. Or you go and buy a plant as soon as spring arrives and it's nice and sunny. But depending on whether you're going to be using it for indoor or outdoor space, both, you can do both. Okay. But you can keep it inside as a plant. It won't grow as if it were outside in the full sun, but it will still be an attractive plant. And it'll take you about 10 months before you start harvesting the turmeric. So I've been talking far too much. Let's just stop for a minute and see if there are any questions that anybody has. Okay, Natalie shaking her head. Okay.
So you said to cook with turmeric. How would you use it?
Sorry, Nagas. It was garbled. I couldn't hear what you said. Did anybody else hear what Nagas said?
It might have been me.
No. All right. Sue, what did you say? Okay.
So it said you can cook with it, and I mean, what would you use like fresh turmeric leaves with, in a salad or in a recipe?
Yeah, it has a very distinctive taste. Okay, but you can use it in any. You can cook with it. You can eat it raw. You can put it in a salad. You can even garnish with it. But it does have a distinctive taste. All right, so you must just be aware of that. And if you can eat it fresh, you're going to get the benefits I mentioned earlier. Okay, but otherwise, put it where you like. The only thing you really lose maybe with cooking any herbs or cooking, I'm talking about fresh herbs now, would be the vitamin C. Okay, but otherwise it keeps all the other vitamins available. And yeah, does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
You can have, you can put it in soups.
Yes.
You can use it in soups and make tea.
Yes. Absolutely. Well done. Thank you. Yes. Thanks for that. You can certainly make tea with it, and you can certainly use it in soup as well. Okay. But you remember the health benefits. I think the health benefits of turmeric are enormous, and so you can use it dry as well. Over, I put it on egg and things like that I eat dry as well. So it has, but so do a lot of other herbs, and we're going to touch on some of those now. Have the power punch. All right, so let's move on, and let's go to this. I'm not even sure if I know how to pronounce this properly. Okay, I've been aware of it and using it for such a long time, but I look at the word, and if I look at it and pronounce it ashwagandha, maybe something.
Michael, it is pronounced as ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha. Thank you, Nancy. Ashwagandha. Is that right? Ashwagandha. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Oh, that's great. You see, that's why we've got TAs in the class. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So this is definitely one of the most potent herbs in Ayurvedic healing. And Nancy, do I pronounce Ayurvedic correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic, yeah. I've been really into Ayurvedic for quite a long time, sort of a couple of decades possibly. And it really has, they've been using this concept where the West have just been blind to the benefits. And anyway, this particular herb is a very restorative, regenerating benefits. It contains, as you can see, I think I put it on the slide there, yeah, the glutathione, which is the mother of all antioxidants. Okay, and antioxidants, we need to. It's interesting when we talk about antioxidants. People know, yeah, we need antioxidants to, kill off all the bad guys in our blood. But another way of saying antioxidants is saying things like anti-cancer, anti-dementia, anti-aging. Okay, so you're dealing with all those things if you've got antioxidants. Okay, so they become like what you need to be doing. And this particular herb is really strong, works very strongly on the thyroid, and neuroprotective. It's anti-anxiety, also another anti. Okay? Antidepressant is another one. Okay? So it has all these properties, anti-inflammatory as well. And so it's been used in the East for 5,000 years. Okay? And we are only starting now to find out about these immense benefits through science, because we have an attitude, as you know, that if it can't be proven by science, well, then it doesn't exist, so which is very unfortunate. But it's now, science is catching up, and we're looking now at finding things that help with, like this particular herb with the rheumatism and arthritis and nervous conditions. And as I said earlier, stress, joint inflammation. That was one of the issues that I was taking it for, and really helps enormously. And for joint, if you're there with not walking properly, which was my problem, then this is definitely helps with the joint inflammation. Yeah. So it just strengthens your immune system. This is needs to be part of the parcel that you are creating in your life if you're looking to add herbs. And I found obviously the dry herbs, where I didn't grow it at that time, and I bought it as a powder, and I found that it also lowered my cholesterol levels. So that was also, but it certainly helps with stress. It's so difficult to explain when you're dealing with stress as an individual, but it does. But I guess when you research and look at all the science papers about it, they all focus on the thyroid. And the thyroid does a lot of balancing and manipulating within your body. So it's good to keep the thyroid happy. Yeah, there were other issues like bipolar was another one. The list just goes on and on and on. And if you're into one of the sort of like the cancers, it helps fight cancer, okay? And it helps protect against Alzheimer's. Maybe these are diseases that are perhaps on people's minds more and more, the dementias, the Parkinson's, and so forth. It certainly, and that's where it all starts. It boosts your immune system, and that you need that strong immune system. So this particular herb serves many purposes. There's just no doubt about it. Right throughout your body, in all your different bodily systems. So it really needs to be there in your system. So,
Michael,
yes.
what are the resources to get these plants? Learner is asking.
Sorry, I missed that, Nancy.
Learner is asking, what are the resources to get these plants? From where we can get these plants?
Still can't hear what you're saying. Get where we can get what? Sorry.
These plants.
Oh, the plants.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's actually a really good question, because when I was living in South Africa, you could buy them from the nursery. Now I haven't bought them since I've been living in Australia, so I'm not sure, but you can certainly buy them as plants. The herb grows. If you research, and I must confess I have not, so I can't confirm. But if you research your herb suppliers online and have a look, I'm sure that any herb supplier will have this one there. But I can't be sure. And so please just look in your herb nursery. Go and Google herb nursery and or herb suppliers, and see what you come up with. Okay. Can anybody else add value? Has anybody else got an answer?
Michael?
How large a pot do you
I grew,
recommend?
Sorry, we've got two people. Nargis again. Okay. Sorry. Start again. Who asked the question? There was a lot of distortion.
How large a pot do you need?
Oh, I see. Okay. How large a plant? Okay. It grows to about 1 meter. And if you want to now work with the green leaves, which I say again, which I haven't worked with the green leaves. I've always used the powder. I've always just bought the powder from the health shop. And that's been how I've added this particular herb, because it's so important. And you can grow it in pots in a sunny area. And as I say, it gets to about 1 meter tall. Has anybody here in the class grown it?
Yes, Michael. I have grown the first one, the turmeric.
Yes.
And
yes.
I got the root from the grocery store, the fresh root, not the dried root, the fresh root. And it looks just like ginger, but it's yellow. And I just put it in the soil. First, I put it in water a bit, and then it shooted out. And I realized, oh, wow, it's alive. And I put it in the pot, and it's growing right now in my pot. I put it outside. So I'm growing it right now.
Okay, that's interesting, but that's the turmeric you're talking about.
Yeah, the turmeric, yeah.
Yeah. Have you not grown this ashwagandha?
I have never used ashwagandha. I would love to know about that one, if anyone knows.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that knows about this one or has grown it?
I'm wondering what it tastes like.
Okay, I can't tell you on the green leaves, because as I said, I've only used the powder and powders in mixtures as well. So can anybody answer, Lynn? Has anybody tasted the leaf of the ashwagandha? Yeah, well, we've all got something to do and go and grow and then feed ourselves back with that. But I'll try and also to find a plant now in Australia, and maybe in the next class I would have discovered one, and I can answer that, Lynn. All right. All right. So again, according to the research that I've done, it's not difficult to grow this particular plant, as long as you keep the soil neutral and in a hot, sunny spot. Like the turmeric, it's something that apparently grows easily, and but I'm going to get there as well, because now you've asked me questions I need to answer from experience. But you can also, from my research, so that you can buy the seeds, and you can plant the seeds and keep them warm, and they will germinate within 2 weeks of you planting them. And apparently they need lots of water. So if you want to grow from seeds, then there's no doubt that we can all get our seeds online, and then eventually, transplant them, grow them in seed trays into a pot, or even into the garden in a sunny spot. But I don't have an enormous garden, so I need to grow things in pots, and but as long as it's sandy and well drained, there doesn't seem to be a problem from my research. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one, which I grow basil as a microgreen. Okay. So it's a micro herb, if you like. And but there's also something called holy basil, which is an adaptogenic herb, and one of the top herbs for healing in various locations around the world, because it can fight viral, bacterial, and fungal infections. So, holy basil, I have not experienced it. It just came from my research. Helps to relieve headaches and sinus pressures, and supports dental health and so forth, and protects your health. Has anybody ever used holy basil?
Yeah, I've eaten holy basil. It's kind of minty.
Okay. And the benefits, have you found what benefits?
I don't know what benefits it has. They use it in India to pray to God. And so I really don't know what the benefits are.
Yeah, Michael, it's very holy for us, and we used to worship the plants, and it is one of them. It has antibacterial properties. We used to say, if someone has a basil plant on their home, they do not get any bacterial infections, because it clear up the air. Also, it has good properties, like in fever, we used to make kadha. It is called as kadha. The concoction is known as kadha, and we used to drink that thing. It really relieves in headaches, cold, and fever, and such type of things.
Wow. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for that. Okay, that's very interesting. Anybody want to ask Nancy a question about that, or comment about it? Okay. Right. All right. Then, so let's move from the holy basil to what we know as basil. Okay, and that's something that I do grow, and I grow not only as a plant, as a herb, but I also grow as a micro herb as well, and harvest it as a micro herb as well. And this it's a good source of natural plant protein and niacin and fiber, and a whole lot of vitamins like A, C, E, K, B6, folate, calcium as well as iron and magnesium and phosphorus and zinc and copper and manganese, and the list goes on. It's just a power plant of nutrients, and this is also something, because of the enzymes as well, you really need to be having, I believe, and that's why I use it now, not now, but for some time. And I just grow them as microgreens, micro herbs, and harvest them and put them wherever we want to put them, and sometimes straight in the mouth. Okay, but you can certainly garnish anything. You can make even a smoothie out of it. There's lots of options of using this, but the basil is full of antioxidants again, and don't forget the anti. Okay, and it helps tremendously. Whenever you've got strong antioxidants, you're going to have really a strong immune system that's going to be fighting the heart diseases and the cancers and the arthritises and the diabetes, and it's just a herb that if you were a vegetarian or a vegan, then you'd get your protein from here as well. And so it's a plant that one needs to, excuse me, needs to look at quite seriously as part of your daily health diet. Okay, adding basil to diet may help to reduce high blood sugar levels. Okay, it's one of the reasons as well that I went onto it and started using it some years ago. So if you want to improve your heart or your mental health, this is the herb. It reduces inflammation, blood inflammation as well. And that's the starting cause of a lot of problems with health, is inflammation in the blood. It's almost like the foundation of that happens. Your blood starts becoming inflamed, and so then the diseases start coming in. So yeah, and of course, like holy basil, it also protects against infections. And so that's as I said, I find growing it as a micro herb is the way I do it, but you can use it as a full grown herb as well. Are there any comments about basil or questions about basil?
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you know when it goes from a micro herb to a fully grown herb?
Okay. A micro herb you would probably harvest within 21 days of planting the seed. Okay. And it grows to maybe about 5 centimeters, when you use inches, about 3 inches, between 1 and 3 inches, you could start harvesting it. And then it's far from getting to a main plant. So if you now left it, you would, from the microgreen tray, you would take it out, an individual one, and then put it in a pot. And then it grows into a plant where my stems are probably about a foot tall or so. And so it's about maybe half a meter. Then it's now become the bush, all right, or the actual full-grown herb. And in a pot, it can also last. Mine has been 2 years, so it can. So does that answer your question then?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. All right. The next one is coriander, and the coriander is also a source of fiber and manganese and iron and magnesium. But the leaves are particularly strong in vitamin C and vitamin K, okay, as well as protein. But the vitamin C and K, and they have are perhaps really what is strong there. So obviously we know that we need vitamin C, and we get vitamin C in a lot of different fresh things. So it's not necessarily that's something that we're going to be short of, but just be aware that that's one of its power points. And vitamin K, we might not be getting vitamin K. Okay. The other aspect of coriander is that it produces a powerful flavonoid called lutein. And this is part of the polyphenol family, which is a very broad category. But this plant helps with not only cancer prevention, but if you have taken chemotherapy, it helps in the restoration of the cells and helps in the recovery, in other words, of after chemotherapy. So this is, I see this very specific. It does help also lower blood sugar levels, and by activating certain enzymes, when you study it and look at it, it's very interesting how it does. But yeah, it becomes so complicated. But I just enjoy, seeing how one thing leads to another. But it's not something to put into a class. But it certainly has enzymes that help in that whole promotion. And not only digestive enzymes, there are a whole lot of 5 or 6 different enzymes throughout the body. So it's certainly, because of the antioxidants and so on, is going to boost your immune system and become very important in that aspect. And of course, your microbiome. It's going to do wonders, and it does do wonders for the building of the microbiome, as do many other of the herbs, but this one certainly. Okay, in order to grow it, again, you're looking at neutral soil, okay? It can be rich in organic matter, as opposed to some of the others we've had in the class now. This one does enjoy good organic matter, but don't add anything to it that might now turn your soil either alkaline or in the opposite. So again, it needs a warm spot, but sheltered. Okay, you can't have, let's say, the wind blowing freely at it, and also you don't want to put it in direct sun all the time. Okay, so next to a brick wall somewhere where maybe it gets sun for half a day or something like that, and protect it from the elements. And as it's from small, as it grows bigger, you can then put it in more and more sun in order to get the leaves strong and flavorsome as well. So that's the coriander. Any questions about the coriander?
I can't think of the common name for coriander.
Yeah, it's I do know it also starts with a C.
Cilantro.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah. But it's interesting. You use cilantro more with certain parts of the coriander, or certain parts of the plant, shall I say. But I think one is used more in America, and the other is used more down under. So, but yeah, we do use them as similar names, but they're slightly.
It's so similar to parsley. You have to be careful.
Not the leaf. Okay. The leaf is different to parsley. So once it's grown, once it's So as a microgreen, it is confusing, but when it's grown, it has an actual leaf. Where parsley has a sort of a fiddly leaf, but anyway, okay. So that is coriander. The other one is oregano. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Oregano, you pronounce it. Yeah. So again, the list of benefits is just so long. But again, it has its particular function that it's known for, which is respiratory issues. And will also fight infections, particularly maybe in your indigestion or digestion system, indigestions. So it's often used as an essential oil, and it would then benefits all types of different inflammations and arthritis and osteoarthritis and diabetes and things like that as well. And it's often used to make the oil. Fresh oregano is an antibacterial agent as well. like some of the others we've mentioned earlier. It has phytonutrients in it. It's strong with phytonutrients, and which then fight infections such as staph and others. But like the others, it's also masses of antioxidants. You see, so if we have a variety of these herbs, we're going to get antioxidants from everywhere, and that's so powerful. That's so essential. Assuming one eats them, in the green leaf, okay, to a degree as well, with to a lesser degree maybe in the powder format or in the dry format. And but again, this one, excellent source of fiber and vitamin K and manganese and iron and vitamin E and so forth, tryptophan and calcium. Yeah, just the list sort of goes on, but one would grow it specifically for an issue. Now, I grow it just for the diversity. Okay, just diversity. It's almost like placing your bets everywhere and you'll win. But you do. Diversity of herbs is really a great. What you can't grow, then buy from your organic supermarket or whoever sells. It's important to with herbs, to make sure they're grown in organic soil or untreated soil. Maybe that's a better word. And yeah, and again, you can harvest these as micro herbs as well. So use it for sore throats and digestions and so on as a micro herb, and help with your nasal and those sort of things. And I tend to do more micro herbs because I just keep growing them, but they're easy to harvest, eat, and you've got them right there as soon as you want, and you're making some food or something. Oh yeah, let me go and harvest some micro herbs. So to grow them in a pot, I don't know if have any of you grown them in a pot? Anybody listening? Okay, so you need, again, quite a deep, wide pot and a position in a sunny, warm, protected area, again, particularly from the sort of midday or afternoon hot sun.
Yeah. Those leaves are tiny to work with.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They're tiny, tiny.
Yeah. And it likes a good potting mixture, so you can start them with in seed soil, and then plant the seeds, and then bring them up from that point through the microgreen stage or microherb stage, and then you can harvest them as microherbs, or you let the seeds grow to about 10 centimeters or so, and then you can pot them into separate pots, and then just water them regularly. They enjoy water, and yeah. So, whoops, I've been talking too much. I see some of you.
My favorite.
Oh yes, it's one of my favorites too. It really is, and yeah, and it just seems to keep on growing in the pot, and it just goes on and on. And I've got it in quite a sunny spot, and it really works well just by you've got to keep trimming it, you've got to keep harvesting it, and the aroma of rosemary.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Isn't it lovely? It improves the mood. I can understand that when you sniff it in. It really is good. It's often used for digestion and also bacteria. It's used for a lot of things. Okay, and it's just, you can certainly cook with it. So it'll boost your memory and help you with all sorts of little ailments.
Just beautiful.
Sorry, say again.
I've seen it grown as a hedge.
Oh, have you? Okay.
In Jerusalem. I was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and I kept smelling this beautiful odor.
Right.
And I had my Bible with me, and I laid it on this hedge because there was no other place to. And sure enough, I finally figured out there were hedges all throughout the place. It's that strong a plant in the right climate.
Yeah, right. That's the emphasis of the right climate.
And it's wonderful to break off some, put it in your water container, and then you get the aroma and the taste. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I've got mine in a pot just off the veranda.
I just keep it around because I like it.
Yeah, I guess that's probably as well. That's what I do. So,
basil and rosemary. What more do you need? Yeah.
That's right. So interesting. So anyway, yeah, thanks for sharing that. So let's conclude the class with any last questions that people might like to ask, or anything you want to share from your experience with the herbs. It's been so nice with people sharing. So any last comments or ideas of how you're going to spice up your life?
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much indeed. Okay, let me just stop. I'm still going to be here if you want to say anything, but otherwise, you have a good evening, and I'll have a good morning, and Natalie, you have a good class. Okay, bye everybody. See you. Bye, Sue. Okay.
Bye, Michael. Thank you. Very informative. Really appreciate it.